So this video may come out late, and that's because I have the flu right now, and it's been a while dealing with it. It may be years before this video comes out, fucking decades, I don't know, man. I'm just, I don't know. I just put in this little disclaimer because I'm recording this on Valentine's Day. I might be late with it, I don't know, but I'm just gonna leave this in, so it may not be late, but just so you know. Hey, you know who sucks? Tyler Perry. Hey, you know who sucks? Michael Bay. Hey, you know who sucks a good majority of the time? M. Night Shyamalan. Oh no, I seem to have run into a dilemma. Which notoriously, usually bad director shall I talk about? You know, fuck it, I'm doing all of them. In Hollywood, there's no short abundance of bullshit the masses are ready to throw cash at based on the trailer. Hell, you could make an entire movie that feels like a trailer because it was supposed to look good as one, and they have. What's really an achievement is continuously being able to release bad film after terrible trash fire and still rake in the cash. You could have a niche audience or loyal, devoted group of fans like Tyler Perry, have a small amount of actual success to your name, which you can dangle in people's heads for your next abomination because he could be good, like M. Night, or you could pander to China and toy manufacturers like Michael Bay. You can try and fail at making original ideas for your movies like M. Night. You can make one idea that isn't even that good and milk it to oblivion like Tyler Perry, or for the most part you can take other people's ideas for nostalgia and ruin the brand further than it could have on its own like Michael Bay. I'm not going to spend the entire video just making comparisons to these directors. The one thing in common you need to know is they make shit. Now let's take a look at the most talented first. If you haven't heard of M. Night Shyamalan or Neil Armstrong Shyamalan, that's what the media wants you to think half the time. He made his breakout hit with The Sixth Sense, and not only classic in film, but inspiration for several other films and directors. Passion is clear throughout, and the acting is great. This isn't his first film, though. He also was a ghostwriter on She's All That and a few other films. She's all that. More like, she isn't all that. Fuck you. The next year he released Unbreakable, a slightly more flawed but also good nonetheless movie. Then he made Signs, which was okay I guess, but also it was kind of dumb since, you know, the aliens in the film's weakness was water and wood. Those are two of the most accessible materials on Earth, and that's the weakness of those aliens. Really? This is almost as dumb as how some dumbass music was enough to beat the aliens in Mars Attacks. The difference was that wasn't a serious film. Next he made The Village, which I haven't seen but never heard much good about, and it seems to be the one film that no one really likes to talk about in his filmography. Then we have the confusing mess known as The Happening, starring Mark Wahlberg of Transformers fame.
What? No!
I saw this like once, and the plot was pretty nonsensical. Something about plants making people act weird and kill themselves, and a lot of memes, some very funny out-of-context memes. After The Happening, we got The Last Airbender, and as a fan of Avatar, I gotta say, this film is shit on multiple levels. They tried to put an entire season into a movie, which usually isn't a good idea. The kid playing Aang was given the role not based on his acting ability, but because he can swing a stick around good, and yes, I said Aang, not because that's his name in the film, but because, you know, it's just how you say it, you know, like Katara. The Earthbenders altogether were able to do this, instead of a single one being able to do this. I'm trying to think of things that happened in this movie. The Earth is an extension of who you are. Enough said. Boom. Moving on. M. Night took a break for a while then. He had to collect his thoughts if he wanted to make another living meme. Unrelated though, Will Smith wanted his son to become a movie star despite having had multiple films already establishing his acting ability. That wasn't good enough for Will though. His family was still recovering from I whip my hair back and forth, so he needed an up. And who better to knock him and his family back down to reality than the man himself? Come back here, M. Night! I swear this video's already fucking draining me. M. Night's first plan was to make Jaden look like an idiot by making him speak in a made-up accent because that's what people will definitely sound like in the future. Then make the lovable, funny, charming Will Smith someone who is unable to show emotion because he had to be a badass and humanity's only hope. Finally, M. Night made sure the story not only contained an environmentalist message, but tons of really terrible looking CG animals. The description I have given matches up the meme factory known simply as After Earth. If you want every little flaw about it ripped apart, check out the 3-parter YMS made. Other than this movie being one of Will and Jaden's worst movies, this film was the first big bomb for Will Smith. This loss clearly affected Jaden most through his musical career. Nothing is funnier and more entertaining than Jaden Smith's so-called career Oh boy, we were talking about M. Night, right. I didn't mention him because the marketing didn't really try to either. I must say, it was a good decision since I don't think anyone would have gone to see the film at all if M. Night had been promoted as the director. You know, M. Night, he was just getting too much money, that was the problem. He needed to go back to his roots, and then he made The Visit, and it made me feel emotions. Fear wasn't one of them, but emotions nonetheless. Like anger, boredom, and existential I'm wasting away my life watching a found footage movie filmed on rig cameras. Split was good. Unfortunately, M. Night wrote that when he was still good at making movies, and I don't really have much hope for Glass, which I haven't seen. M. Night is truly a character study, from starting off as a guy who could make an instant classic because of talent and knowledge of film, to becoming the guy who made Last Airbender. Every band or director has that point where their films start to decrease in quality because they either lost the magic of what they used to be making or got a different film philosophy. M. Night, he's like one of those high school jocks who peaks in senior year.
Yeah, guys, look at me. I can score a touchdown. Ooh, baby, look at my totally tubular Letterman jacket.
Split is like when you decide to look up that jock on Facebook to find he got a scholarship because of his previous talent, but in actuality, he's dramatically lost it over time and is about to get expelled from the university. He really started going off the deep end, I think, with The Happening. I just don't think M. Night's feeble brain cells could handle the pure, sanctimonious pleasure that is the acting talent of Mark Wahlberg, who ironically and coincidentally also stars in the recent films of another of the directors on my list here. Or maybe Shyamalan could have lost his marbles when he was a boy and died for 30 minutes under freezing water where he was able to see the spirits of others. Or maybe he went crazy when he came up with that obviously fake experience in 2005 for a sci-fi documentary. Hey, he may have gone insane at one point and mostly makes shit, but at least he makes things that are interesting. Michael Bay is easy to talk about at length, and I'm not just talking about his shitty adaptations of 80s Saturday morning cartoons. He started off in the film industry in the mid-80s where he filed the storyboards for Raiders of the Lost Ark, which by the way he thought would be shit, but when it wasn't, he just decided to go to film school because, hey, maybe I can make a film that people will think is shit, but it's actually pretty good. Not. He ended up making some actually pretty good commercials, including this iconic Got Milk ad. Everything was going great for Bay when he got offered his first film, a generic action movie. Will Smith was alright in it, and it made enough money for a shitty sequel and a third movie to be released next year. Thankfully, Bay isn't attached to that, so maybe we'll only get 300 explosions rather than 2 billion. You probably don't want to hear about the next decade worth of generic, overblown action movies with tons of special effects. I know I don't, so let's just skip to the interesting shit. In 2007, Michael Bay released Transformers. It was simple, it had tons of explosions, but it was a little bit more justified here. They brought Peter Cullen back to do the voice of Optimus Prime. Okay, that wasn't really intentional. I met Peter Cullen once and went to his panel at a comic convention. He said he actually had to audition for the role of Optimus, so we definitely could have gotten, like, any popular celebrity, but I guess it's cool anyway. The effects look good for the time. They have Mr. He Will Not Divide Us there. It's fun. It's kinda dumb, but it's fun. Whatever Michael Bay does next, I think it could be alright.
Transformers Revenge of the Fallen is my fucking lord and religion. Oh my fucking god. Oh, I'm coming.
I'm sure Michael Bay had only the best intentions when making this movie, especially the important input of the money. I mean the fans. I mean China. No, I'm in China. Transformers 2 was made during a writing strike, so Michael Bay, the genius he is, decided to create all the fight scenes for a film without a script. So eventually, when the writer's strike did end, they had to scramble to think of a film to connect all of these unrelated fight scenes. The story is bad, the animation isn't as spectacular because it doesn't really seem any better than before, but to give it some credit, it did have somewhat of a reason for its shitty quality. But what excuse did the other films have? Transformers 3 is bad. Nothing significant. It's just bad. Moving on. Hey, you know what would be good for toy sales in China? We should add robot dinosaurs to Transformers. That would be so cool, man. That famous line from Tommy Chong while he was getting high in his weed van with his Transformers toys was actually listened to by Michael Bay and his team of over a dozen writers. You heard it here, folks. The Transformers have been around since the prehistoric era as fucking dinosaurs. I guess Shia was just getting too embarrassed to still appear in these shit movies, so they got Marky Mark, who will probably always show up with the smell of a check in his face. It's that simple. Come here, Marky boy. I got you a treat. I got you a $500,000 treat.
Yo, dude, we should totally get the Transformers to be part of the round table. Fight Nazis in World War II era Germany. And we should get some kids, and one of them's a girl, to appeal to the feminist audience, despite them not really doing anything. Oh, and we can't forget to have BB-8 in there for toy marketing again.
This was not a quote from a high Tommy Chung, but in fact a crack addict off the road who has since been put in charge of the writing team for the new Transformers movies, except Bumblebee, because some people were able to fend off Michael Bay's influence for that movie. I got my checklist for a piece of trash Transformers movie right here. Celebrities they were able to buy somehow: Anthony Hopkins, check. Generic CG that throws shit at the wall to see what sticks like a DCEU movie, check. Optimus Prime says a speech about humanity and if they should protect Earth from the Decepticons, check. Filler to the point that it seems like there isn't even a specific story to follow, check. Chinese markets become the only reason anyone still gives a shit about these movies or can still pump out a new movie every year or two, check. And don't worry, Transformers movie fans from America, all three of you, there are 13 new Transformers movies in production right now, including an R Bumblebee, Transformers 1, completely different lore in an animated universe, a Transformers movie in Roman times, but no G.I. Joe crossover, unfortunately. I know all you fans of the live-action G.I. Joe movies were looking forward to it, but it ain't happening. Speaking of movies involving Michael Bay based on 80s toys and cartoon series that aren't going to happen, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3. The franchise clearly was pushing to get a third film, but the box office records couldn't get anywhere near the level of a Transformers movie, so they just had to scrap it. Michael Bay wasn't even directing these films, he was just a producer. Despite that, there's still the same level of scantily clad women, tons and tons of unneeded explosions, bad deviations from the original source material that didn't need the connections it was given, and bad CGI. Remember when it was a meme of how terrifying the faces of the turtles look? This is fucking terrifying. No lie though, despite all the shit involved, when I first saw this film as an idiot 10-year-old, I liked it, but I also liked pixels at that point, so maybe I shouldn't give my old self so much credit. The second movie is just pandering. Oh look, fans, we've got Kerrang! And Shredder's face, even though this is a different guy. And Baxter Stockman, played by motherfucking Tyler Perry. This is all connected somehow, I goddamn swear. Looking at news articles, it seems Michael Bay only has Transformers sequels in his path, so we can expect much more from him. I'm already fucking bored by him, let's move on. How would I describe the career of Tyler Perry and his multiple movies? Oh, hell no! Oh, that hurt to do. Tyler Perry was able to strike gold with his filmography when he was able to create the character of Madea, a sassy black woman that Perry plays himself to express his love for drag. Big Mama's House came out 5 years before Madea's first appearance on screen. The difference is Big Mama's House is about a guy dressing up in drag for a purpose. Madea as a character was made around a guy's love for drag, except he didn't want to admit the fact that he liked to dress up in drag. Madea as a concept shouldn't have been able to go for more than 2 movies, and it has so far gotten 10 with an 11th on the way, and that's not even counting the direct-to-video sequels. What is it that makes this concept so enticing to others, and why do they keep coming in droves? Is there some kind of in-depth comedy I'm just missing here? Probably not. The rest of me talking about Madea in this video is gonna have some relation to Boo Madea Halloween. I hated this movie when I saw it in theaters. I thought it was gonna be so bad it's good, but there was nothing even close to funny in there. The movie is about Tyler Perry's granddaughter trying to sneak out of the house to go to a college party hosted by Frucitude. Madea tried to counteract this by getting her entire gang together, which is half composed of Tyler Perry as well, to watch the girl and make sure she doesn't go anywhere. The audience at my local theater was laughing non-stop at all of the jokes when there wasn't really anything funny about the deliverance or value of it. Tyler Perry just, he can't write great dialogue. There's an old lady, she smokes medical marijuana. Old people shouldn't do that. Look at how funny this is. They shouldn't do that, so that's what makes it funny. I don't need to do anything else with the fucking idea. The pacing of not only the jokes, but the whole movie is so terrible, it feels like it could be finished in 45 minutes. Have you ever heard of a movie being able to get filmed and shot in 3 days' time? No? Well, you haven't heard of Boo Madea Halloween, motherfucker. Madea goes to the party. She takes the girls back. The girls sneak out again and frighten Madea. Madea smokes in a church, and near the end of the movie, Tyler Perry tries to fit in an out-of-nowhere lesson about taking control of your family and some shit like that? Really, who cares? Who fucking cares? I don't want to talk about Tyler Perry any more than I have to, because I respect him the least out of all these awful directors. And the thing is, I actually have more directors that I want to talk about, but this video is way too fucking long as it is. So I'm just gonna make another video sometime. Who knows when? I don't fucking care. I'm going to bed now. Good night.